Snow fell quietly over the alien village, covering the broken roads and old metal roofs in a soft white blanket. The air was cold, sharp, and cruel. People walked fast, heads down, coats tight. No one stopped. No one looked around. But near a small corner, barely standing, was an alien woman, tall, thin, shaking. Her skin was green, faded from cold and hunger. Her long ears twitched as she tried to protect something wrapped tightly in a brown cloth against her chest. It was her baby. The child let out a weak, tired cry. It wasn't loud, just enough to break a heart. No one helped. Some aliens turned their heads. Others whispered. "She's still alive," said one. "Should have frozen days ago," said another. No one cared. She had become invisible. Her name was Zherna, but no one called her by name anymore. They used to call her Widow. Now they just called her Filthy. Her husband had died in the border wars. After that, her own people pushed her out, said she brought bad luck, said she was cursed. All she had now was her baby, Miri, barely 3 months old and getting weaker each hour. Zherna hadn't eaten in 2 days. Her child had no milk in almost 3. She walked from shop to shop, whispering the same line. "Just a bite, please," for her. But every door closed. Every face turned away. Her legs were shaking. Her eyes were red. She saw a food stall steam rising, fries being served, warm smells teasing her empty stomach. She walked closer. To close, back off. Barked the vendor, pulling his tray away. No food for beggars. She didn't speak. She just nodded and turned away, too tired to cry, too used to shame. Then something strange happened. From behind the food stall, human men had been watching. His name was Marcus Hale. He wasn't rich. He wasn't special. He had come to this alien planet to work a simple job fixing machines and delivering supplies. He wasn't trying to be a hero. He just liked his peace. But something about the alien woman caught his eye. Maybe it was the way. She didn't ask for herself, but only for her baby. Maybe it was the silence in her suffering. He saw her sit down on a cold crate near the fire bin. Her hands trembled as she wrapped the cloth tighter around her child. The baby let out another small cry. Nothing. Marcus looked down at his plate. A hot bowl of seasoned fries, cheese melting on top. He had just bought it. He hadn't even taken a bite. He looked at her again. Her lips were blue. Her shoulders shook with silent tears. He took a deep breath, picked up his bowl, and walked slowly toward her. Some aliens noticed. They stared. "What is the human doing?" One whispered. He didn't care. He knelt beside her. "Here," he said quietly. Holding out the bowl, she blinked in confusion. She didn't take it. She looked at him. "No one had done that in days. For your baby," he added. Her hands reached slowly, shaking so much he had to steady the bowl for her. She looked down at the warm food, and suddenly, her whole body began to shake. Her lips trembled, and then she cried. Not soft tears. Not quiet sniffles, real painful sobs. People stopped to look, but no one moved. The baby stirred, smelling the food. Zherna fed her the soft pieces. The child sucked weakly, then stronger. She made a tiny, happy sound, a sound Zherna hadn't heard in days. Marcus sat there in the snow, silent, watching. He didn't ask her name. He didn't ask for thanks. He just said, "You can keep the bowl." Zherna couldn't speak. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Only more tears. For 5 minutes, the snow kept falling, but for the first time in many days, someone had stopped. Someone had cared. Someone human. The snow didn't stop falling, but in that quiet moment, something had changed. Zherna sat by the corner, still holding the empty food bowl, her baby now sleeping softly against her chest. The warmth from the human's food still lingered on her fingers. She kept looking at the bowl like it wasn't real. People still stared, but from a distance now. Whispers grew louder. Why did the human feed her? She's a widow. She should be left to die. Humans don't get involved. Why this one? But Marcus Hale didn't care about their voices. He stood near the fire barrel, hands in his jacket pockets, watching the mother and child. He didn't expect her to thank him. He didn't need it. He just couldn't look away. Her body was thin, her bones visible. Her baby's head had no strength left to lift. And yet, when Jurna looked at her child, there was still love. Still. Hope. Marcus knew that feeling. He had once held someone that way. Long ago. His younger sister Emma had starved during the Earth Unity War. He had found her too late. That memory haunted him every winter. And now here she was. An alien woman who looked nothing like his people. But pain was the same. Hunger was the same. A mother's eyes were the same. He walked forward again. Jurna saw him coming and froze. She tried to rise, but stumbled. Her baby almost slipped from her arms. "Hazy," Marcus said, holding her arm gently. "You're too weak." She didn't resist. She didn't have the strength to. He reached into his coat and pulled out a thermal wrap. "Take this. It'll help keep your baby warm." She looked at him with wide, unsure eyes. "Why? Why are you helping me?" she whispered in her soft, broken voice. Marcus didn't know what to say, so he simply replied, "Because no one else is." Jurna blinked hard, her tears frozen before they could fall. "Come," he said. "There's a small shelter where I stay, just for the night. You can warm up there. I don't have much, but it's better than here." She didn't move. She looked down at her baby, still sleeping, but too pale. She nodded slowly. Marcus led her through the narrow streets, away from the market, past cold alleys and broken lights. His place was a smaller shipping container turned into a living pod. Not fancy, not clean, but warm. He opened the door. A soft light glowed inside. A small heater hummed in the corner. A makeshift bed, a water jug, a shelf of tools. Jurna stepped in carefully, almost afraid. "Sit," he said, motioning toward the bed. "You're safe here." She obeyed, holding her baby close. The warmth hit her skin, and she finally exhaled like she had been holding her breath for days. Marcus poured her some warm water in a cup. "Here," she took it with shaking hands. The baby stirred again. Jurna rocked her gently, whispering something in her own language. A lullaby, maybe. Marcus sat on the chair near the wall. He didn't ask questions. He didn't speak. He just watched her carefully. Minutes passed. Then finally, she broke the silence. "My name is Jurna," she said quietly. He nodded. "I'm Marcus." Jurna looked at her baby. "Her name is Miri." "That's a beautiful name." Jurna smiled. The first real smile she had shown. "But I still don't understand," she said softly. "Most humans here look away. Why not you?" Marcus thought for a second. "I lost someone too," he said. "She was young and hungry. I couldn't help her in time." Jurna's eyes softened. "I don't want to fail again," he added. They sat in silence, the heater buzzing softly. Outside, the storm howled, but inside, it was calm. Jurna finally laid down, curling her body around her child, covering her with the thermal wrap. Her eyelids fell, too heavy to keep open. Her body gave in to rest. To safety, Marcus didn't sleep. He stayed awake, just in case anyone came looking. The town didn't like acts of kindness, especially from humans. But he didn't regret it, because that night, The baby didn't cry. That night, a starving alien widow slept without fear. That night, a small part of the universe became better because one human didn't look away. Morning came slowly. The snowfall had stopped, but the streets outside were still buried under ice and silence. Inside Marcus's small shelter, warmth still lived. The heater hummed quietly. A soft golden light filled the room as the alien widow. Zherna slowly opened her eyes. For a moment, she didn't know where she was. Then she looked down. Her baby, Miri, was still asleep, wrapped in the warm cloth Marcus had given them. Her skin was not as pale now. Her small chest rose and fell, slowly. Calmly, Zherna's eyes filled with tears again. She had thought they wouldn't make it through the night. Across the room, Marcus was sitting on the chair, still awake, sharpening a broken tool with a piece of metal. "You didn't sleep," she whispered. He looked up and smiled a little. "Didn't want to." Zherna tried to sit up. Her body still ached. Her head was heavy. But something inside her was stronger now, hope. Marcus got up and walked toward a small storage box. He opened it and pulled out another food container. He handed it to her without a word. She stared at it for a few seconds. Her hands trembled. It wasn't just food. It was life. It was kindness. She hadn't seen any of those in a long time. She took the container gently, opened it, and saw warm stew inside. Soft pieces of root vegetables and protein cubes floated in thick broth. It wasn't much, but it smelled like heaven. Zherna closed her eyes and held it close to her face for a second. Her body reacted before her mind. Her stomach growled. Her eyes watered. Her throat felt tight, and then she broke down. The spoon dropped. She covered her face with one hand, while the other still held the food close. Her shoulders shook. Her mouth opened, but no sound came. She was crying harder than she had last night. Marcus stepped back, unsure. "Are you okay?" he asked. Worried Zhe just nodded through her tears. I forgot what warm food felt like," she said, her voice cracking. "It's yours." "Take your time," Marcus said gently. She sat on the floor, slowly feeding herself, and then her baby. Miri drank the broth from a small cup Marcus had found. It was the first time Zherna had seen her baby drink anything with strength. It felt like a miracle. After a while, she looked up at Marcus and whispered, "Thank you for seeing us. No one else does." Marcus didn't say anything right away. He looked away, a little embarrassed. "I didn't do much," he finally said. "You and your baby deserved better from the start." Zherna blinked. No one had ever said that to her. "You don't know what that means to me," she whispered. Marcus nodded. "You don't owe me anything. I just did what should have been done." But not everyone agreed. There was a loud thump outside the door. Marcus's eyes narrowed. He put his tool down and stood up carefully. Zherna froze, holding her child close. Another knock, this time harder. Marcus opened the door slowly. Two tall aliens stood outside, covered in thick cloaks. Their eyes glared coldly at him. "You're the human who took her in?" one of them asked. Marcus didn't answer. "She's a widow. A danger to the city," the other hissed. "Why are you protecting her?" "She's a mother," Marcus replied calmly, "and she's starving. That's not a crime. A key is unclean, human. Our laws, your laws, left a child to starve." Marcus cut in. The alien stepped closer, threatening. "This is your warning. Return her to the street, or next time we bring more." Marcus's jaw tightened. "She stays." The aliens gave him a long, angry look. Then they turned and disappeared into the snow. Marcus shut the door and locked it. Zherna stared at him, shaken. They will come again. I know, Marcus said. But you're not going anywhere. Zherna looked at him like he was mad. Why would you risk this? You don't even know me. Marcus sighed. I don't need to. Just know what it feels like to be alone. Zherna looked down. Her hands gripped her baby tighter. I won't let anything happen to you or Miri, Marcus said firmly. And in that moment, something shifted in Zherna's heart. For the first time in a long time. She believed someone. She believed him. That night, the wind outside howled like a beast. The snow returned, falling harder than before, covering the streets like a thick white blanket. But inside Marcus's small shelter, there was peace, rare. Peace that Zherna hadn't felt in months. The heater's gentle hum mixed with the soft breathing of her child. Miri was finally asleep, warm in Marcus's old sleeping bag. Tiny hands curled near her mouth. Zherna sat quietly on the edge of the bed. She didn't say much, but her eyes were watching everything Marcus's movements. The tools on the shelf, the food supplies. Even the cracks in the wall. She wasn't scared anymore, just unsure, still confused, still cautious. Marcus boiled water on a small stove. He handed her a metal cup. Tea, he said. Not real tea, just something warm. She accepted it with both hands. The heat from the cup made her fingers ache, but in a good way. She took a small sip and smiled slightly. It's bitter, she said softly. Yeah, Marcus chuckled. I'm a terrible cook. Zherna looked at him. But you still shared it. He shrugged. I've eaten worse. A long silence followed. Not uncomfortable, just quiet. The kind of quiet where two people didn't need to speak to be understood. Finally, Zherna spoke again. Her voice was low, slow, like someone pulling heavy memories out of a locked box. My mate. His name was Sorik. He was a guard. A good one, strong, kind. We weren't rich, but we had enough. When the war started, he went to fight. Said he'd come back before the baby was born. Marcus listened carefully. He didn't, she whispered. They said his ship exploded. No body, no goodbye, just gone. Marcus lowered his head. I'm sorry, she nodded. I waited. Then the elders came. They said I brought bad luck, that I should leave the district. I begged them, said I had nowhere to go, but they threw my things in the snow and told me to take my worthless child with me. Marcus clenched his fist. No one helped. She said, not even neighbors, not even the priest. I slept in a warehouse, then behind a shop, then under a bridge. Miri cried every night. I gave her my food when I had some. I thought we were going to die yesterday. She stopped, tears fell down her cheeks, but she didn't wipe them away. Marcus handed her a cloth. You're not dying tonight. She gave a small, tired laugh. You speak like you're sure. I am. Zherna looked into his eyes. Why? Marcus sat down across from her. His eyes were calm, but deep like they had seen storms before. I had a little sister, he said. Her name was Emma. During the Earth raids, we lost our home. My parents died in an explosion. I carried Emma through the rubble. I told her we'd be okay, but she didn't make it. Zherna's eyes widened. I found help too late, Marcus said, his voice cracking slightly. I swore, if I ever saw someone in the same pain, I'd never walk away. Zherna stared at him, her lips trembling. Then maybe. This was meant to be. He looked at her. Maybe. Miri stirred in her sleep. A small cough escaped her lips. Zherna rushed over and gently rubbed her baby's back until the coughing stopped. Marcus watched her with respect. She's strong. He said. She is. Zherna smiled through her sadness. She has her father's will. The two sat beside the baby, watching her breathe, listening to the wind outside. Then Marcus said, "You don't have to go back to the streets." Zherna's smile faded. "They won't let me stay here. I'll handle it. You'll be punished. I've been punished before." Zherna looked down. "Why are you like this, human?" He smiled softly. "Because I remember what it's like to be forgotten." Zherna touched his hand. It was rough, cold, and calloused from hard work. Steady, strong. "Then, maybe I can remember what it's like to be safe," she whispered. Outside, the storm continued to rage. But inside, something warm had bloomed. Not just fire. Not just food. Something more: trust, connection, and maybe the start of something new. The storm outside had calmed by morning, but the chill inside Marcus's shelter still lingered. The heater buzzed softly, casting a dull warmth across the metal walls. A silence filled the room. An awkward silence, but the kind that carried unspoken thoughts. Zherna sat beside the heater, holding her baby, Miri, in her arms. The child was stronger now. Her eyes fluttered open from time to time. She made small noises. That alone gave Zherna strength. Marcus was fixing a broken handlight near the workbench. Tools clicked. Sparks flashed now and then. "Where will you go after this?" Marcus asked quietly, not looking up. Zherna didn't answer right away. She held her child closer. "I don't know," she finally said. "There's nowhere left to go." Marcus put the light down and looked at her. "You can stay here, at least for now." Zherna shook her head slowly. "The neighbors already warned. They'll come back. If they find me again, they won't ask questions. They'll take my child away." Marcus frowned. "Let them try." Zherna stared at him. "Why are you like this? Most humans don't care about alien widows." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "Maybe I don't care what most humans do." There was a small smile between them, but then Zherna's face turned serious. "There's something I haven't told you." Marcus nodded slowly. "All right." She looked at her hands. "My husband, Sorik. He wasn't just a guard." Marcus leaned in. He was one of the royal protector's bodyguard to the district governor. That made Marcus pause. He had heard stories about the royal protectors. Elite warriors. Feared by many, trusted by few. After he died, she continued, "They didn't just cast me out. They accused me. Said I must have known secrets. That I was hiding something. That I was dangerous." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Were you?" She looked at him. "No. But that didn't matter. Once people are afraid of you, they don't need proof." Marcus nodded. "That's true," Zherna whispered. "That's why. They want me gone. It's not just because I'm poor. They think I know something. They think I'm a threat." She stood up slowly and walked toward Marcus, her child still wrapped in her arms. "I don't want to bring danger to you. You've done enough." Marcus looked into her eyes. "You didn't bring danger. It was already out there. You just made me see it." For a long moment, they didn't speak. Then Marcus said, "I have something to tell you, too." I sat down beside him. "I used to be part of a human recon team during the Earth Unity conflict," he said. "We weren't supposed to be in your sector, but we were. We saw something. We recorded something." Zherna's eyes narrowed. "What?" Marcus hesitated. "A trade deal, illegal, between your governor and enemy forces." Zherna's mouth fell open. "That's why I left the military," he added. "I leaked part of the data, but no one believed me. The rest of my team vanished. I ran." Zherna whispered, "If what you're saying is true, they'll kill you." Marcus nodded. "Maybe." She looked at him with a mix of fear and respect. "We're both hiding from the same system." He gave a dry smile. "Seems like it." Suddenly, A noise outside. Zherna's body stiffened. Miri whimpered. Marcus grabbed his tool belt and stood up quickly, moving to the door. He opened it slightly, peeking out. 3 shadows moved past the alley. Heavy boots, not locals. He closed the door. "They're looking again," he said. "We don't have much time." Zherna looked down at her baby. "We can't keep running forever." Marcus took a deep breath. "No, but we can fight back." Her eyes widened. "You'd fight for us?" Marcus looked at her, shaking but still standing. "I've been running too long," he said. "Maybe this time, I fight for something real." Zherna swallowed. "Then, let's not wait for them to come. Let's leave before nightfall. Where will we go?" She thought hard. "There's an old outpost in the mountain woods, abandoned. Cold, but safe." Marcus nodded. "Then we go." And just like that, the plan began. He packed the heater core, some food, and basic supplies. She wrapped Miri in layers of cloth. Marcus made a map from memory. They waited for night. When the sun set, they would disappear. But they didn't. No, they were already being followed. Night fell like a silent shadow over the frozen village. Lights dimmed, doors locked. Snowflakes returned, dancing through the black sky. But 3 figures moved quietly through the alleyways, 1 human, 1 alien mother, and 1 tiny child wrapped close against her chest. Marcus led the way. A small flashlight in one hand, a worn bag slung across his shoulder. Beside him, Zherna clutched her baby, Miri, tightly. She had no coat, only Marcus's jacket over her thin dress. Her lips were blue. Her legs hurt. But she didn't complain. They moved fast and quiet, careful not to leave tracks too close to the main road behind them. In the distance, faint footsteps echoed. They were not alone. The forest began where the village ended, dark, thick with trees, heavy with ice. Marcus had been there once for work. He remembered the outpost, an old military shelter built deep into the cliffs. No one used it now. Most didn't even know it still existed. That's where they were heading. Every breath they took became a cloud in the freezing air. "We need to rest," Zherna whispered after an hour. Marcus stopped and looked at her. Her legs were shaking. Miri had gone quiet to quiet. 5 minutes, he said, helping her sit behind a rock. He took out a heat patch and pressed it against Miri's small chest. "She's still warm," he assured her. "But we can't stop for long." Zherna nodded, but her eyes were filled with fear. Marcus scanned the trees. "Do you hear that?" she asked suddenly. He paused, a soft crunch in the distance. "Not wind, not animals, boots. They're tracking us," Marcus said, his voice tight. Zherna's breath caught in her throat. He reached into his bag and pulled out a flare gun. "If they get close, I'll distract them. You keep going." "No," she said sharply. "We stay together." Marcus looked at her. "If something happens to me, then it happens to me too," she said. "You gave us your food, your warmth, your shelter. I won't leave you behind." For a moment, their eyes met in the darkness. There was no fear, only trust. Then they moved again, faster this time. Up ahead, the terrain grew steep. Ice-covered rocks and fallen trees blocked their path. Marcus used a stick to guide Zherna through. But behind them, more footsteps, closer now. Then a voice, cold and sharp. "Human. Stop. Give us the woman." Marcus turned sharply. In the shadows, he saw 3 alien enforcers with cloaks and stun guns. "You don't want this fight," Marcus shouted back. "She carries secrets," the voice answered. "She belongs to the council now. She's a mother," Marcus growled. "And she belongs to no one." The first stun blast missed him by inches. "Run," he shouted to Zherna. She hesitated, but Marcus pushed her up the hill. He turned and fired the flare gun. The bright red flare lit up the whole forest for a few seconds, blinding the attackers. Marcus grabbed a branch and swung it at the closest one, knocking the gun from his hand. Then he turned and ran. Zherna reached the top of the ridge and waved. "Come on." Marcus ran hard, breath burning in his chest. Shots fired behind him. Trees exploded into sparks. But he didn't stop. He dove beside Zherna just as another blast hit the snow where he had been. They rolled down the other side of the slope, landing hard but safe. Marcus groaned in pain. His shoulder had hit a rock. "You're hurt," Zherna said, trying to lift him. "I'm fine," he lied. "Just a bruise." She touched his face gently. "You risked your life." He smiled, bloody lip and all. "That's what friends do." She blinked. "Friends, or whatever we are now." Finally, through the trees, they saw it, a low metal structure buried beneath snow and vines. The old outpost. Marcus forced the door open with a metal bar. The inside was dusty but still intact. A backup heater, some supplies, a place to breathe. Zherna placed Miri on the sleeping pad and wrapped her in dry cloth. The baby stirred. She was safe for now. Marcus collapsed beside the wall, breathing hard. Blood stained his sleeve. Zherna knelt beside him and gently tore the cloth to look at the wound. "It's not deep," she said, her hand steady. "You're good at this," Marcus muttered. "I was a soldier's wife," she said. "I learned how to patch wounds in the dark." He laughed softly. "You're stronger than you look." She looked into his eyes. "You're softer than you act." Outside, the wind picked up again, but they didn't feel the cold anymore. They had each other and tomorrow. They would fight for a future neither of them thought they'd live to see. The wind outside the outpost howled like a warning. Snow slammed against the rusted metal walls, but inside, the warmth of the small heater fought back. Zherna sat on the floor, gently rocking her baby Miri, who now slept peacefully under a blanket made of torn cloth and love. Across from her, Marcus leaned back against the wall. His shoulder was wrapped, blood stopped. He looked tired, but his eyes were alert. They both knew it wasn't over. The flare had been seen. The attackers would come again. Maybe not tonight, soon. Still, in that little outpost, for the first time, they felt like a family. Zherna looked at Marcus. "You should leave when the snow clears. You can still escape." Marcus shook his head. "And leave you to here? Never?" "You'll be hunted, Marcus," she whispered. "They'll brand you as a traitor." He gave her a small smile. "Then I guess I'll be the traitor who saved a child." She stared at him for a long moment. "You're more alien than any human I've ever met." He chuckled. "Ha, I'll take that as a compliment." That night, just as they were settling into rest, a sound echoed outside, footsteps in the snow. Marcus grabbed the old blaster he had found in the storage room. Zherna stood up, placing Miri gently inside a drawer, lined with cloth for protection. "Stay low," he told her. "If they break in, I'll hold them off." "No," Zherna said firmly. "Not this time. We stand together." The door burst open. 3 enforcers entered, faces covered, weapons ready. One of them pointed straight at Zherna. "You are under arrest for fleeing justice." The lead shouted. Marcus stepped in front of her. "You'll have to go through me." The lead laughed. "You are just a human. You think your voice matters here?" Zherna's voice cut through the cold. "Then maybe mine does." The enforcers turned. She stepped forward, chin high, even though her legs trembled. "You call me a threat. You call me dirty. You call me a widow. But I am a mother. I am a citizen. And I did nothing wrong." The lead snarled. "You are accused of hiding classified data. You ran from the council because the council wanted me to disappear." she said boldly. Because I knew my husband died for a cause while they sold out our people. Marcus glanced at her, surprised. Oh, she had never spoken so openly before. Zherna kept going. This man, she pointed at Marcus, gave me food when no one would. He gave me shelter. My baby would have died without him. And you call him the criminal. Silence. Even the enforcers hesitated. Then Marcus took a step forward. You can. Shoot me if you want. But if you touch her or that child, I promise you there won't be enough left of your team to report back. The lead looked uncertain now. He hadn't expected resistance, not here, not from a broken widow and a lone human. We don't want a scene, the second enforcer said quietly. Let's report what we saw. The trail ends here, but the orders, the lead began. Orders. Change, the second interrupted. After a long pause, the enforcers slowly lowered their weapons and turned back into the snow. The door closed behind them. Zherna collapsed onto her knees. Breathing hard, Marcus dropped the blaster and rushed. To her side, you did it, he said, holding her close. We did it, she replied. For the first time since her husband died, Zherna felt powerful not because she had fought, but because someone had stood beside her. Not a guard, not a savior, a friend, a human. Weeks past the outpost became their home. Marcus fixed up the walls. Zherna planted herbs in boxes outside. Miri grew stronger every day, her laugh now echoing through the cold woods like music. Other exiles and outcasts began to arrive, ones who heard rumors of a place where kindness still existed, a place where a human and an alien widow protected. Others like them, they called it Hale's Refuge, and in the middle of it all stood Marcus and Zherna. Longer strangers, no longer afraid, just two people, who refused to let the world break them.